A very happy special birthday to Kayla as well.
Hey y'all, it's me again. Welcome back to part two. Now, if you're here, I'm assuming you already watched part one. If not, fix that. But part one, basically, I took y'all to Ghana, showed y'all everything that I did while I was there, and now I want to let you know what I really thought. That could be everything from what it took to get there, how the people were, how the food were, any setbacks that I had, and if I would go back. So if you're interested in knowing what it would possibly be like for your first time in Ghana, stay tuned. Okay, first things first, let's get into what it took to get to Ghana. I've been to a few different countries in my time, and this is probably like the most extensive process I've ever had to go through in order to get in the country. Like, not just anybody is getting in there, at least for this past time when I went. So, of course, like COVID is a thing, so you needed your COVID test within 72 hours of landing. But then the layover, you actually needed 72 hours within like the time you took off from there. So it was really like 48 hours. You needed to be fully vaccinated, which was a rule that just kind of went into play, I think about like 2 weeks before everybody started landing for December in Ghana. So some folks had a problem with that. Luckily, I was all good there, just had my booster. But what they didn't tell you, or at least not ahead of time, was that you would have to pay for a $100 on-site COVID test once you landed at the airport in Ghana. And no, you could not choose a different test. You couldn't take an at-home test. It was that $100 test or nothing. You're not getting in. And that line, I want to say I was in the line for the COVID test for like an hour. So just be prepared, like when you land, if that's still what they're doing. And obviously, like December in Ghana was a little bit more of a high traffic time, but make sure you got that $100 ready for that test because there's no evading that. Aside from that, I think I told y'all in part one that like there were just a whole bunch of documents that you had to fill out. So of course you had to get the visa, and there was a normal thing for that, like sending off your passport photo and all of the information along with that. But you also needed sort of like this like letter of endorsement from someone who was a Ghanaian citizen, and they had to submit their passport, a letter saying that they would basically look after you with the address that you would be at, their phone number, just like a lot of extra information that I think not only you didn't used to have for Ghana, but that I just haven't seen required for a lot of other countries. So keep that in mind if that's something that Ghana is still doing. And it might just be in light of COVID. It might be because somebody went and, was acting up and didn't have no home training. Who knows? So although the process was a little unexpected, it was obviously all worth it. And, I was ready. I got all that out the way and I'm like, let's go. So first impressions of Ghana. One, the people are really, really nice. Like there are some countries where they're like, I'm gonna let the tourists do their thing and like we gonna leave y'all alone, or we don't even want y'all here, cough cough France. But Ghana was really, really nice. Like as soon as you landed, it was like Akwaba, which is welcome. And it just felt like people say it feels, I didn't necessarily get the like, oh my gosh, this is like my home away from home feel, which I think is okay. But I did feel like very welcome there. So it was nice to kind of see that upon landing. And another thing that I think people always talk about is seeing like the representation. To me, it was like the black faces on every single advertisement, every single billboard. Like it could be something for some soap, some Pepsi, some who knows what, education, like music, it didn't matter. Black people were on all the billboards, and it was just, like a nice little difference. Obviously, from like rolling around in the US, you gotta struggle to get us on a damn Dove billboard, but here it was obviously the norm. So that was just, nice to see. What I will say, one thing unexpected, I learned this like, probably after us going to a couple places, was that it was a little bit more expensive than I thought it would be. Not like extremely expensive because, like I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So it can't be that expensive. But you know, I did notice that it was just, you know, like a little bit more like you ain't about to be out all over town, all over Accra, and like on a budget for real, you know, like we were still spending. But I was grateful, you know, for my little $10 drink, because obviously once I got back to the Bay, it was back to like $16 drinks. So I'm gonna take my wins where I can get them. Now, I know y'all know that I could not make this video without talking about the food. The food was as good as you would have expected it to be. It was hitting on hitting. I must say, like, it could be that, you know, Missy just chose like all the best restaurants to take us to, because honestly, from like the first meal, I was like, oh, they know what they're doing. But even the home cooking, like we stayed with Missy's family for the full time, and Auntie Sarah, like chef's kiss. Like she was fixing up the good meals. There were like some stews that she was fixing. It was like this one spinach stew. It was so good. Y'all can literally like imagine it right now. Of course, the jollof was hidden. Breakfast every morning, she had that on point. I mean, the fruit was so fresh, like literally everything was good. And y'all know, like, I will be the one to travel to a place for just food. So I was thoroughly impressed. And then of course, you saw some of the restaurants that we went to last time, like Fat Fish honestly has my heart. It wasn't too hard with the seafood, but yeah, they definitely knew what they were doing there. So Ghana gets an A in my book for food. So as many good things as there are about Ghana, y'all know there were a couple setbacks. One of those being Uber. Like, I knew Uber was difficult in a lot of places, obviously, because it's just not as like all over the place as it is here in the States. And you know, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But Uber in itself was like a whole challenge, y'all. When we called an Uber, we literally had to call both an Uber and a Bolt, which is like their other service, their Lyft, their alternative. Because we didn't know which one was going to get there first. Like, you could call an Uber and it would say it's 4 minutes away, and then you call a Bolt and it says 15 minutes away, and then the Bolt gets there first. And you're like, houseway, how does that work? So literally, like, each and every time we went somewhere, we had to call both, and it was just kind of like luck of the draw, who would get there first. It might even be that you would just like call one and you would literally sit there, watch them like stay in the same place for maybe like 5 minutes and then drive the other way. And you're calling like, hey, you going the wrong way, and they're like, yeah, and hang up. So, you know, take your time, call your Uber like ahead of time, from wherever you gotta be, because it's not gonna be there in like 2-3 minutes unless it's just like really your lucky night. But aside from that, like actually riding in the Uber was like a whole experience. I low-key was joking and I was like, I got a whole series that I could do just called Uber Chronicles off of my time in Ghana. And if you follow me on Instagram and you watch my stories, you saw one of those moments where we literally got pulled over and we thought my Uber driver was about to go to jail. That was one of the moments that definitely would have made Uber Chronicles. But I'm not even sure if that's like the craziest thing. Like, I don't know, y'all tell me. So during the course of like the 5 days that I was outside in Ghana and actually was taking Uber places, we got pulled over by the police twice. We got in, basically almost every car that we got in either was missing an outside or an inside door handle. So either you get in and you can't get out, or you can't get in and the Uber driver has to let you in. I had a driver basically take me on all his errands. So like, not only did he stop to get gas, but he also like stopped at the convenience store like on the way to my destination. I was like, okay, yeah, we could take the time, like whatever time you need, just do your thing. I don't got nowhere to be. Let me see what else happened. There was the Uber driver whose car broke down as soon as we got in it. Y'all, we literally, me and Missy walked outside, opened the door, got in, he turned on the key, you know, it starts back up, and then as soon as it starts up, it goes, and just like everything shuts down, and we're both looking at each other like, is something wrong, you know? And he's like, no, I got it. He gets out, he goes to the hood of the car, he goes to the trunk, he's like, 60 seconds goes by, and he's just like basically messing with everything, and we're like, okay, this is, you know, not gonna happen. We're just gonna call another ride. So that happened. Oh, and how can I forget the guy who had lost his iPhone? So he had me being Maps, because obviously like on his like track phone, the replacement phone, there was no Google Maps, Apple Maps, none of that. So I was the Maps. Actually, I was MapQuest. Like I felt like I was back in the front seat with my mama again, reading the directions. Like no, the exit coming. Like it was that. But imagine that in Ghana, where I couldn't really see where it was at nighttime. I couldn't really see where the street signs were. I had no idea where I was going, if this was the street, if this was the turn. It was a hot mess. So yeah, like I said, like I don't even know if my Uber driver almost getting arrested was the craziest thing, but it definitely made for good story time. But to the driver's credits, like I don't want to make it seem like, you know, like this is like a hate segment on Uber drivers. Like they were all very, very nice, like conversational, like telling me about their country. It was beautiful. And I just learned that they have a hard time with Uber getting over on them. Like if you don't pay in cash, Uber basically like holds their pay for like 3 or 4 weeks, they said, which we didn't find out until the end of the trip, unfortunately. So like whole time we had been paying in card for each of our rides, and we were like, why do these drivers like not really want to mess with us? And we found out it's because we were paying in card, and obviously if you pay in cash, they get their money right away. So if you are planning on going to Ghana for the first time, just make sure you have cash on you to pay Uber drivers or Bolt drivers, if that's the transportation that you choose to take, so they can get their due payment right away. And Uber can not only stop holding their money, but also just taking out a wild percentage of it before they give it to them. So final thoughts. Obviously really enjoyed my time in the country. I would definitely go back. I'm not done with Ghana, and Ghana is not done with me. I will say that I at least felt like I got to check off a lot of the big things that I went for, aside from Afrochella. Like I did get to go see a lot of like the monuments that I wanted to see, and we went and saw the slave castles. Although I will say, for the slave castles, some of y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves, because why on Instagram, when you click on the location for the slave castles, is it a bunch of people just like posted up like this is not I don't know, like where something sad didn't happen? Like folks are literally like having like whole photo shoots, like popped out at the slave castles. I don't understand, but maybe you could explain to me if you were one of those folks. But I just don't, like, you wouldn't go post up at like Auschwitz, like looking all cute, or maybe you would, I don't know, but time and place, y'all, time and place. Anyway, I digress. I got to see and do like most of the things that I wanted. I got to go try a lot of the restaurants that I did want to see. So yeah, like I definitely had a good time. Not a lot of bad things to say, or no bad things to say, honestly. I would recommend folks just going and seeing for themselves. Some folks will have a different experience if they stay with people that they know in Ghana, like I did, or if you choose to stay in like a super poppin' part of town, Osu, and stay downtown in touristy area. You know, like it'll be different depending on what you choose, but I think that you will probably find that Ghana is a really enjoyable country either way. I think that that's all I wanted to hit on, but before we go, I did want to acknowledge that we finally hit 200 subscribers, and no matter how small that number may seem to anybody else, I really rock with 200 of y'all tuning in all the time, watching the videos, commenting, and just being part of us chasing what's for us. I try to give y'all, you know, a little bit of the world in each of these videos, but I hope it either inspires you to travel, or you can just kind of get some ideas for where you can head next. So I appreciate y'all tuning in to these 2 Ghana vlogs, and until next time, I'll see y'all.